Hello, everybody, and welcome to this brand new episode of Music to Live for with Shanti. I'm your host, Shanti Perpellini, and today with me, Pete Zen of the band Jet Jack, and we will talk about punk rock, music production, TikTok, and emo. So let's go!
Check this out. Music to live for with Shanti.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this brand new episode of Music to Live for with Shanti. I'm your host, Shanti Perpellini, and today I'm here with Pete Zen from the band Jet Jack, and also musician and producer. My friends, I'll let you introduce yourself for the audience.
Hey, what's up? I'm Pete Zen. I'm traveling in my RV right now, and I'm producing on the road, and I just make music, and I love pop punk and hardcore and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, I think it's important to tell how did I found your band, because I was scrolling on Instagram, or I don't remember if Instagram or TikTok, and I just listened to the track in the video, and I said, "Oh my God, I love this kind of melody, this sound."
Yeah.
And damn, I just went to Instagram, I just went to Spotify and Deezer, and just add the song to my playlist because I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then with the time I start following you and follow what you're doing, you're producing and everything. I said, oh, I have to ask him to be guest on my podcast because
Yeah.
I suppose we have a lot of things to say. And thank you very much to be here. Yeah, man, punk rock, melodic punk rock. This is a big thing for me too. I mean, how did you get into that music?
Oh, that sort of music. From watching Malcolm in the Middle in the beginning, they had that song like I was telling you earlier. They had Sum 41 was playing in the show, so I waited till the credits at the end to know who it was.
All
And
right.
then I made my dad go buy me the CD, and eventually I got the tattoo, and I found bands like Blink 182, Bowling for Soup, got into like Linkin Park and Paramore and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's always like this. You start with one specific, and then you go discover. You talk with friends, and I to me, the process was watching TV and see Pretty Fly for a white guy, The Offspring,
Oh, hell yeah.
Americana, and then it was the time when you went to CD store and you just looking through what they have. You just look at CDs and the cover. Maybe you don't know the band, but you like the cover, so you say, "Hey, let's listen to that," and then say, "Oh my God, I love that band!"
Yeah,
And
exactly.
from there, I just jumped to No Use for a Name, No Fan at All, Melancholy. I mean, in between America, in between states and Europe, this is what is still one of my biggest love, because I don't know, I always like found so interesting this mix of distorted guitar, but still the melody, but still fast. Like
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
I found like all the biggest like radio rock bands back then, but then I got really lucky when my parents moved towns. We moved to a small town in New Jersey, and they had a bunch of local bands
Mhm.
there. And they had like local hardcore shows and metal shows probably when I was like 14. More metal, more like synthcore, like Attack, with that sort of
Okay,
stuff.
okay, yeah, yeah.
But when I saw that happening and I saw all these like kids that were sort of my age doing it, I'm like, okay, whoa, this is like real. Because before that, I was writing songs and doing that sort of stuff. But I think I was more just like Walmart punk until I was probably like 14.
Yeah. I mean, one thing is that I noticed my friends from the States got into some kind of music in one way, and we in Europe in totally another kind of way. Like, and this
Yeah,
is so interesting because I think for us in Europe, it's more like, okay, you have these older friends that maybe knew the band or already went to the States and have the chance to get
yeah,
in a little bit into the scene
mhm,
and bringing back those information, those names, and then start listening to.
yeah,
And I get the feeling the older for you or people like living in the West Coast was more like, okay, this band is from LA and everything. Like it was
yeah,
more okay. You know the name, and then you start listening to the sound and and
Yeah.
and here in Europe we have this kind of yeah, it's the American dream, let's say. You know, if you look at
Mhm.
Suicidal Tendencies, that kind of logo, no effects, it's
Yeah.
still big names here, and even generational. Because for me, what I like to describe the genre I get into was like, okay, for me, it's punk rock, and it's related to Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the PlayStation,
My favorite
and
game in the entire world. Yeah.
yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I remember playing and always choosing for Goldfinger song
hmm
Superman because it was just perfect to that game.
Yeah.
And then of course it happened the whole door to the emo era that I think is
hmm
still going on, or there is like a comeback.
Yeah.
There is this guy that used to do some comic and kind of ludic videos on YouTube, and he this brand Emo's Not Dead.
Yeah. 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 hmm
I so love the fact that in the first video that he just used the music, and
Yeah.
then the most he was involved in that process and project, he also starring the singers
Yeah.
of different bands, Houghton Hates and
Yeah,
Dashboard
dude.
Confessional.
It's so funny that you said specifically Pro Skater 2
Yeah.
because there's a difference. If you liked like Pro Skater 3, you like a whole different subgenre of music than I
Right?
do.
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
That's it. It's like
Or like when pop punk was coming up and stuff, either you liked Sum 41 and Blink 182 or
mhm.
you liked Fall Out Boy and like All Time Low when it started becoming
Yes.
Pretty Boy and less like dick jokey,
Yeah. I know
you
what you
know?
mean.
Yeah, or
I know what
later, like 2009, you get into the true pop punk, which is like the Title Fight and Story So Far. Not maybe like 2011, right? Like before
mhm.
that was like Hit the Lights and bands like that. And then now is, like you said, TikTok.
Yeah.
That's like, I think, where everybody's finding new pop punk bands and new bands in general.
Yeah, this is a very interesting phenomena because I remember I brought out Tony Hawk, I mean a video game, but I remember
hmm
there was also a lot of movies where
hmm
the soundtrack was also more punk rock, or there was
Yeah.
something funny song like there is this movie called The Euro Trip,
Yeah, love
and
that movie.
hey, I still love it. I guess I download it every 2 months to watch it
Yeah.
because because it's so funny. But the fact that this kind of teenager in high school, and by the way, this kind of high school is something that is belongs really, I suppose, to the US, because in Europe we don't have this kind of things, but we
Yeah.
would like to have it. You know? But the sound is
Yeah.
the same. The music we're listening was the same. And then I
hmm
remember those kind of horror movies where they had a complete soundtrack just made from metal bands, like with bands like Slipknot or Static X, like
hmm
giving really track just for as a soundtrack, and then this
hmm
suddenly disappear once again, and now we are in this era of social media where yeah, band have definitely the opportunity to
Yeah.
be there, to be active, and to reach definitely more audience. But
And there's less delay. There's less delay into
yeah.
like Europe and stuff. Because when I toured there a couple years ago, it was like everybody knew what was going on, but there were
Mhm.
some things that like people in Europe I feel like just missed or something. Maybe like a smaller band that um or like how we were talking about earlier, like Nasty is huge there,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know. But a lot of the hardcore bands, I think, in the U.S. they're missing just out on because it is more word of mouth,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
But now with TikTok and stuff, I feel like it's caught up and everybody is on the same page all the time.
Yeah, right. This is
Yeah,
this is cool because I remember listening to one of the first album of Nasty, but I'm
yeah,
talking really from 10 years ago.
right.
And this sound was so unique even here in Europe. This beat
Yeah,
down sound, this way to sing.
hmm
It was just Nasty. It's just one band for that, and that
hmm
was Nasty. And
yeah,
uh but then you discover that there are similar bands, or like as you said, there was this kind of missing link in between,
yeah,
and it's like how do we get into that? And of course, it happened that also YouTube helped this a lot
yeah,
with more
definitely.
music video, more exposure, more kind of trends setting up, like
Mhm.
what's the name of that? Ah, yeah, Hot Topic. There was something
Okay.
also, you know,
Yeah.
like, or this kind of band doing this kind of crap core, this moving like this, everybody
Yeah.
wearing this kind of t-shirt and this kind of style. And this is where I personally I started doubting about
Mhm.
some kind of scene, because don't get me wrong, with the time I also changed my way of wearing, because it's not just music, it's also lifestyle. But at the same
Right.
times I felt so confused because I couldn't recognize myself with the scene, with the music I was
Mhm.
listening to. And and this changed when I finally had the chance to see like Bad Religion playing live and see, okay, those people are like, let's say, the old school. They are really
Yeah.
grow up man, but they still have this energy. They still have this passion. So, you know, it's
Yeah.
not like, okay, now I'm over, or I'm 28 or 30 years old. I already have family. I got married, and I have to put that aside in a box and put it that away. You know, we can still
Right.
do that. We can still enjoy it. And you know, I know that you also said that you are a producer. You producing your own music, but also, or you support also bands or people coming to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I work with a ton of different bands.
All right.
There's a cool band, like for example, this band Daphne from
Oh,
Portland. Right
yeah.
now, it's cool. Like how you said, like Attack Attack, you started to lose a little bit of focus in the scene. I
Hmm.
feel like because of producing, I like to attach myself to any band that is doing something different, right? Because Attack Attack and Devil Rose Parada were the first bands in those scenes to really create that sound. And then there was a bunch of follower bands, which I understand. Like once you start seeing all these same sort of bands, you kind of don't want to mess with it anymore.
Hmm.
But bands that I like to work with are bands like Daphne, who are this cool, theatrical, sort of early 2000s pop punk band.
Yeah.
Plus, they sound like they could be music for commercials or something,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Or there's a cool band from Philly called Cross Hearts that I work with, which is mixing hyper pop and and emo music like Hawthorne Heights and stuff like that together.
Hmm.
And they're doing their own iconic thing. Or this guy Brandon Ritchie from Philly who does pop punk, and it's like no effects, but he throws on tons of auto tune and tons of like trap elements into his music,
Oh,
and
okay.
it makes it a cool new thing, you know. So I love that I get to work on. It might not, some of this stuff might not be the exact thing that I like to listen to all the time,
Yes,
because
yes.
like we were saying earlier, I just like to listen to dirty like deathcore or hardcore or whatever, because it just sort of clears my head from really mixing things.
Hmm.
But I like to work on anything that is progressive or original or true to like what the person is really corny, but coming out of their heart or through the
Yeah.
vessel in the top of their head, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes,
So
I know this is thanks to my work. I had the chance to be behind the curtains in different kind of project and music, from
mm,
classical to rock, metal, even Swiss pop music. And it was for me even also that a new scene, even if I grow up here in the country. And you just notice that you may not like that kind of sound usually.
mm,
Maybe you won't have that song on your playlist on Spotify,
mm,
but once you know the artist, once you have the chance to talk and work with him, then you understand better,
mm,
like why, not like, but why the music sounds like this, or why this person wants to do this. Because like here in Switzerland, we have this kind of trend that, you know, okay, in a big city in Germany like Berlin, that it's like the mecca for electronic music or arts in general for Europe.
mm.
Um, they start some trend, and then you have here in the small Switzerland artists that are just like copy and paste.
Yeah,
Just on five artists, maybe just one, he really understood, oh, here there's something new, and I can bring it maybe to the next level or use it with to express myself. So it's always
yeah,
art, you know, to find that really enthusiasm, really motivation. But at the same time, you can only learn something. Also, when I talk last week with a good friend of mine that he plays saxophone, but they also do a lot of electronic music.
Okay.
And I told him, I'm totally ignorant on what you're doing. I mean, I listen to your, but I really want to know more. What is the mentality, the process behind that music? So
Yeah, I mean, once you learn something, once you learn how it's actually created and how somebody got there, you can, maybe it still won't even be your thing, but you can respect it and have a ton of respect for it, you
mhm,
know, and understand that they are doing their own path that could be the next Nirvana or the next wave
yeah.
or something greater. I have a lot of respect for anybody who's doing something different and mixing genres or perfecting their genre, right?
Mhm, yeah.
But things that I don't like to work on are um, when somebody just creates a band to create a band, just to play shows, just to, I mean, it's fun. I get that, that's fine. Like I'll go to your show and I'll have fun, but I wouldn't necessarily want to work on that
Mhm,
project,
mhm.
you know?
But tell me, right now, you notice like a trend. There is still like band, like they are really like a 5 4 pieces band, or it's
Mhm.
more like that nowadays, more like one man bands coming up. Like,
Yeah, that's the move, I think, nowadays. It's too hard. Sorry, there's a lot of motorcycles going around.
no problem, man.
I'm at Daytona Beach right now in Florida. But yeah, it seems like it's mostly like solo artists that are popping off
Mm-hmm.
right now, especially for music that's like lyrics that are really telling a story. There's plenty of bands out there that are emo bands and writing really good music, but as far as like the next iconic huge bands, I think it is going to be solo artists because
Mm-hmm.
everybody has computers now. Everybody has TikToks. Everybody can learn how to produce at home or write at home
Mm-hmm.
or learn every instrument at home or program drums, right? So it just makes sense that there are a lot of solo artists now, which is
Mm-hmm.
why I'm mostly doing that too.
Yeah, but this is also interesting because I notice even with my project, with my podcast, I mean, I always start. I mean, in the past I started using GarageBand because it
Mm-hmm.
was quite a intuitive program to start
Mm-hmm.
recording or like
Yeah,
this, and then a good friend of mine just introduced me to Logic Pro, and it was then I noticed, okay, the leap was quite huge
yeah,
because it's more tricky, it's more details, just things that you really had to know. But
yeah,
at the same times, I always had the feelings that if I want to realize something on my own, it's amazing. I can do my demo, I can prepare my stuff, but then I guess I will always get in touch with somebody that can help me produce, because
right.
receiving the opinion of somebody that is focusing on a specific task, it can be
Yeah,
really a nice and winning move, because as I said, you got your ideas but you see just one way, and
yeah.
put that work in the hands of somebody else can also help you to change that kind of point of view.
Yeah,
We
exactly. I mean, that's every band that I work with. They're all very great musicians and totally capable of doing everything themselves, but they want somebody who can hyper focus on their song in a different light, and then also hyper focus on the mixing and the mastering of their song and producing.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
So and because they, even for me, it's hard to produce my own stuff unless I really am. I have to go into the mentality of when I write my stuff, it has to be just different and weird and fun, and I have to get it done within 2 days.
Mhm,
Otherwise, I'm gonna work it until it's just vanilla. There's nothing left, and I made it too perfect, too auto-tuney, and I'm gonna overthink every single lyric, every single line. So sometimes even me, I'm like, I'll call friends and ask them the whole time throughout the whole writing process, is this cool? Is this not cool?
mhm, mhm.
It's you can't do it all yourself, but it's good to have your own vision in line and have your own project in your control.
All
So
right,
when I work
yeah.
with a band and they tell me, hey, we want our music to sound like Pro Skater 2 plus the Xbox 360 loading screen and whatever, they give me some imagery to work with. I'm like, okay, I understand the band. Let's like dial this in, and really work on it. So,
Yeah. Oh, great. And those bands are also able now to play lives. I mean, after this last 2 years, I think the words of live music definitely changed a lot. I have the feeling,
Yeah.
for example, that here in Europe, the game just changed. We have to accept that. I want to be positive, seeing this like a new chance to start a new trend, a new rhythm in that. But like we definitely had to stop to restart the whole machine. And
Yeah.
I mean, how is the situation in the state? I mean, I see on Instagram there is a lot of huge big concert events, but I suppose that now you can have concert whatever you want, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's back, but I was a promoter for a while too,
Mhm.
booking shows. And when the pandemic hit, I gave up on that, and I gave up on shows in general. I mean, I played out and I had toured a bunch, but I mean, I'm grateful that I got the chance to tour. Right, I was the right
Yeah.
age. The the past 10 years since, or 15 years or whatever it was of touring, I'm grateful that I got to go where I got to go, and I felt pretty accomplished when all that stuff happened, when the pandemic happened.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I wasn't totally personally like burnt out about it, but a lot of my friends who got in, who were like promoters or booking agents and stuff, they all switched. Um, Not all of them, but a lot of them switched industries
Yeah,
because
yeah, the
it
same
it
here.
was starting from scratch. So
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, it's cool because a new band can come out and it's a whole new scene, and it's like even playing ground, right? So like
Hmm.
so you're not fighting all the time to get slots at venues because there's a bunch of new venues and a bunch of new bands to play with.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
at the same time, people who were working their way up, or maybe at the top of the bottom, or just a middle-sized band,
Hmm.
they, I think, are really who got hurt the most out of the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we were talking about social media. I think that was something that helped and saved a lot of projects.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was really a lot of band that start doing some acoustic version of our classics and or
Mm-hmm.
try it. They took the time to do new music,
Yeah.
and I think that you notice that maybe they were under that pressure that normally they will have,
Mm-hmm.
and so they produce very nice songs, new giving new lip to other artists, and so in the end I think this is the important thing, just to see the thing is a positive. But
As long as music is being created and being put out there, I'm happy. The shows
yeah.
are very nice, and there will always be festivals and stuff
Hmm.
like that I'll always go to. But dude, I am super grateful for TikTok. The fact
Hmm.
that I can go on there and yell like "nice cock" into a mic, and it goes viral, and then a bunch of people can find my music,
Yes.
like that's perfect. That's perfect for me. You can
Yeah.
be a goofball and promote your music, and it's not so serious anymore.
Hmm.
At least in my world, it seems like you can do what you want, and maybe somebody will think you're a corny goofball or whatever, but fine, let them, right? Like that's not my audience anyway.
Yeah, yeah, but it's something that they were saying to Ben 20 years ago. I mean, like as I said, you see those pictures on some magazines.
Yeah.
I say, oh, where are those guys? And that things up. Bring Me the Horizon, the first era where they were like with this
Right.
haircut, this kind
Yeah.
of t-shirt or color red. That has nothing to do with the metal and nothing, but it was so trendy. And we say, okay, no. And then years later, they put out some tracks. And some song that you say, "Oh, come on, that's a really interesting. They know what they're doing."
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
notice, okay, but I remember there was judge them for the way they were looking more than the way they were playing, and
Yeah.
so yeah, this is the same, I suppose, here. Just that something like TikTok just give you so an avalanche of input of songs of I don't know. Then I don't know. I still think that this this story with algorithm is also crazy because wherever you are, it show you different things. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
yeah.
love it. I've gotten so many clients from TikTok,
Oh, cool.
um, and a bunch of like because of the MGK thing, there was a couple like rappers or even just like influencers who wanted to
Mm-hmm.
make pop punk music, but they
Oh.
couldn't play any instruments, so they would have me make the song and then they would sing on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that kind of works out great
Yeah.
because
Okay.
all they're focusing on is writing the lyrics and telling a story, which is what they were already doing. And a lot of pop punk is so watered down that when like you have a character who seems like a rock star getting in the front of a band, it creates like a really cool project.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
But in the end, let's talk just shortly about this phenomenon about Machine Gun Kelly, because honestly, the first song he released as a pop punk artist, I really like it. I mean, I said, oh, I personally, I was thinking, oh, this guy finally found his way, because honestly, as a rapper, I never care much about what he was doing, you know? And then when he started playing this music, why not? It's cool, like this and that. But then, then this is also another kind of trend, another kind of way then to see art, to see music, whatever choose then their own path. But that was interesting. And I think that, for example, in Europe, it's not the same. I have the feelings that we are still doing like another kind of path, because of course social media has a huge impact wherever you are. But for example, here in Switzerland, I noticed that uh, having a TikTok account as an artist is just like the last resort. You know, you just focus on Instagram. On Instagram, yes, and on YouTube. YouTube is stronger, let's say, in that reason in Europe. But it's so interesting that you say that, because for the audience listen to you right now, they will say, "Oh, that's interesting."
Yeah, you should get on TikTok. Honestly, all the dudes in Switzerland, you really should. Because I don't know if I think it is a little bit regional, you know. Because when I enter a new state, when I'm traveling, I do start getting Florida TikToks and things like that.
Okay.
But either way, if you're using like a pop punk hashtag, if you're a pop punk band, then it will grow. But I've noticed in Europe there's a lot more easycore. There's a lot more like metal plus pop punk together over there. It's a lot heavier. It's a lot more metal influenced.
Yeah, we still old school, I would say. A lot of metal, even here in Basel where I live, they really go hard for that sound that we have like 5 years ago for metal bands like Black Dahlia Murder and very, very heavy stuff, you know. And they keep doing that. I mean, in a good way. But if I think right now about some punk rock, there is a wonderful band. I definitely need to send you the link. They're called Mamba Bites. It's a three-piece. They're three girls from Switzerland, and they're really amazing. But if I'm thinking right now, this is small, and Switzerland is a small scene, I think they are the only band in the genre punk rock that are really pushing, and they are really also making their own path.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying before, there's not like a ton of bands right now that are pushing through and becoming the next big band. And I even think about some bands that got put onto a label and they have huge funding and huge tour support. You know, they're getting on all the big tours as a small baby band. If they're not doing TikTok with it too, then it's a flop. They'll get on these big tours and they'll play huge shows, but afterwards, if they do their own headlining tour, it's not nearly as big as it should be, right? But there's bands like Games We Play, who's been like playing out and doing shows and stuff for a long time, but they focused on TikTok and they blew up that way, and now they're working with like Pete Wentz and stuff like that, and they actually do draw really well. So I think the traditional band method, like, it can work, but it's a lot more luck.
Yeah, you need to do this kind of upgrade.
There's so many bands. You just pick one. All right, they're next, right? That's how it feels sometimes with those sort of bands.
But
which is like, I love plenty of those bands. I wish every band sounded like Such Gold, you know, because I would be so happy. It just double time and screamy punk rock vocals. But there's so many bands that sound like that. It's just hard to break out.
Yeah,
or push the genre, which is really the important thing.
I was really amazed by the success that bands like Lorna Shore received, because
they went to my high school, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's like the bands that I grew up like seeing.
Oh, right, that's me. Shore, because when Will Ramos joined the band, I think they made like one of the best decisions, because To the Hellfire is a banger as a song, I think. And the way he
That shit is
scream,
wild.
the way
Yeah,
he
that shit is
scream is it was
wild.
totally new. I mean, I
Yeah.
mean, in that kind of genre, I would say, because of course there is some kind of niche genre that are really more guttural and that were
Mhm.
used to sounds, let's say, like animals.
Yeah.
But put in that context, I remember watching the video and then stop it, say, "What? Wait, what have I just heard?" It was
Yeah, that's
so
some New Jersey shit. It's like when,
crazy.
yeah, over in the Northeast, everybody's so compact that they just start screaming really weird because they're always looking for the new coolest thing.
Yeah.
Like their old vocalist Tom Barber, who's in Chelsea Grin now, he went to my high school,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
dude, that band has always been good. Even at local shows, like they were always the best band. And
Yeah.
there was plenty of other metal bands that were really good too that never broke out, but I think everybody knew that that band was going to do something.
Oh, you are
Yeah.
already the second person to tell me this because I was on tour in November with the band Zeal and Ardor,
Okay.
and we went. I mean I joined the tour for 10 days, doing Europe. They went UK, Europe, and Eastern Europe, and I just the Germany part.
Mhm.
And I was talking to the tour manager in. She's called Mel, and she's from Canada, but she
Mhm.
works out in with many bands in the States and Europe. And one evening on the tour bus, we start talking about, hey, what do you think about? He say, I know the guys. I know that because they were with this and that. We
Mhm.
play together and everything. And she also said, whoa, they have that special, the mojo. I don't know that the magic
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely curious to see if even something like this will happen in a scene like the punk rock, because I have to be honest, seeing live bands like Bad Religion, and I saw them before the pandemic hit, uh they were so solid, and I noticed also
Right.
the audience also really is interesting because it started being like this generational audience where you have like teenagers, but you have people even older than us like enjoying
Yeah.
that sound. But the band
Yeah.
just deliver a honest sound, and the passion was there. I mean, that was
Yeah.
the amazing thing for me to see. And uh, that's the fact. I mean, I was really interested to see the reaction of the audience in this tour because it was the first tour after the pandemic, and I noticed that people were there for having a good time and to support the band.
Yeah.
First of all, shout out to the guys in Paris because Paris was
Yeah.
the amazing concert I
They're
witnesses.
great.
And but hey, I think that the coolest thing is that now after this situation, many people are show up just because we realize that we missed not just making music or our
Mhm.
hearts in general, but
Mhm.
also be there, be
Mhm.
in front of the stage. And for the first time, I also saw there was less people with the phone in their hands than
Yeah, that's true too.
the
That's
people
true too.
wanted to enjoy it. They wanted to be there and feeling
Yeah.
that energy without being like passive.
Yeah, it did feel like there was a little bit of a lull, like right before the pandemic. Like there were so many shows going on that when you were like a package band to middle-sized bands going together, the
Hmm.
show never
Hmm.
did well. You'd have to play like a thing, like a festival or something for everybody to come out. But then when the pandemic was over and you played
Yeah.
like basement shows and stuff, it was like very, very packed. And even still, it feels better. It does feel better. But I
Hmm.
think as far as like growing the scene and stuff, again, there needs to be a connection between that DIY scene that we
Hmm.
both know and that like TikTok scene with like the new rock stars and people like that are coming out, because if they creeped their way into these little venues and brought like a real crowd, like 100 200 people, then that would grow the scene like crazy, just like how MGK did.
Yeah. Hey, but do you think that something like the Vans Warp Tour will
Mhm.
will still something that people will like join?
Yeah, it'll still be a thing. I think it's just going to be like coastal. It'll just be like the major cities. So
Hmm.
it's more just like one-off shows, because regardless or not, like if people want it around, like it's still going to make a lot of money, so it's still going to be a thing.
Yeah,
You know.
because I remember I guess in the last editions, you have already this interesting mix of, let's say, classical bands
Mm.
belonging to the Vans Warp Tour scene,
Yeah.
but already putting on stage also this kind of duo, maybe with synthesizer or
Mm.
just pads and vocals. So it
Mm.
was it seems like they just like see a little bit further and say, oh,
Mm.
the scene is going that direction, like so.
Yeah.
And it seems that the audience still liked it, and it was cool. I mean, I never had the chance to witness the Vans Warp Tour, and for
Yeah.
us living in Europe, it was like the mecca for punk rock. If you
It was
have,
cool, man. Yeah, it was every single band, and then you go to. I had a bunch of crazy experiences there, which like I thought about like recently that were like enlightening, which was like I got to work merch for a rapper in like
okay,
2011,
hmm,
and I went backstage, and a couple crazy things happened. I saw 4 Year Strong 10 feet away from me, and I worked
oh
with
yeah,
Alan from 4 Year Strong like last year. And
yeah.
then I saw Man Overboard, which was a New Jersey band, but to me they were a really big band at the
Oh, I
time. And
love the guys. I saw them two
yeah,
times in Zurich. They were
oh
just
cool.
great.
Yeah, and I saw them, and then I became close with Zach, and we worked together on a bunch of projects. Um, and then I got to meet the drummer of Yellow Card, who was my favorite
Oh,
drummer ever. And
yeah.
then I cursed out Jeffree Star. Do you remember Jeffree Star, the like
Y-
makeup artist? He had like
Yeah, yeah.
music. He had music. And my girlfriend at the time wanted a picture with him, and he was being a total asshole to me. So I was like, yo, fuck you, dude. And I like cursed him out. And
Yeah.
then I got kicked off the stage, backstage there. Warp Tour is like, it's wild. Wherever you, like everywhere you go, you see
Hmm.
like crazy iconic people that are just pushing the scene in a good way or a bad way, like Jeffree Star.
Yes,
But
yes. I
it,
see what
it
you
was
mean.
really
Yeah.
cool. And I used to uh I don't, whatever, I don't care, I'll say it, but like I used to go in with the bands when my band was touring, and if we weren't playing and we wanted to go to Warp Tour, we would
Hmm.
just drive in with all the other bands, and then we would park in the back lot, and then they would just let us right into Warp Tour. So we used to
Amazing.
do, yeah, so we used to do that all the time.
Yeah, this is something that in Europe, it works like this. You have this mostly in the summertime, these uh big events where you have 3 days or four
Yeah.
days with like 30 bands per days, like
Mm.
one after the others,
Yeah.
and with the biggest name. And it's the only way that people like had the chance to see this band all together.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah,
you have
Europe is
normal
more
tours.
communal though.
Yeah.
Is more communal than the US. US is like every band for themselves, and everybody steps on each other, and if a local band is having a show, somebody will be mad that their band isn't playing it, and all
Okay.
that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, because everybody here, they think that they're you know, they're in their own little bubble in their own world,
Hmm.
which I get because there's a lot of opportunity here.
Hmm.
But when I went to Europe, it was nice because everybody was friendly and everybody was cheering each other on,
Yeah.
and pushing each other's bands. And when there was a show, everybody went.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know,
That's true. It has happened to
yeah,
me to be on tour and just meet it. Oh, guys, are you also there? No, I just went to because I know that guys was playing, and I
yeah,
always think is nice, like
yeah,
just meeting friends. And but what about your band, Because I remember I love the song "Sing Red," and I
yeah.
mean, uh, are you planning to do many things 2023?
Not really. We sort of took like a back seat with that because of just
Hmm.
bad luck and bad timing.
Okay.
Um, but we have some new music that we were like sitting on, so I'll probably just upload that and put it out.
Oh, nice. That's so
So
cool. Like,
right now I'm
yeah,
just working on solo stuff and
yeah.
producing a bunch.
But once again, this solution now with this system with social media, it
Mm.
it can work. Like, like okay, we are a band that right now we are not touring much. We're not able
Right.
to
Yeah, we
do
could.
concert, maybe because the guy is getting married or is having children. But we
Mm.
can still like produce music, and the audience can also keep contact with what you're doing as an artist without
Yeah.
this pressure of, oh my god, we definitely go out and then taking 2 months for touring and everything. Like, you're still present and people will enjoy it. Can also using your music for videos and everything. So
Yeah.
you can still like, I definitely have to download once again TikTok, because like a couple of months ago I just deleted the app because I was so
Yeah. I mean, there's so much trash on there, but
yeah,
you got,
yeah,
you know,
that
you
was
just
the
gotta like,
reason.
you just gotta work past it because, like I said, it's really cool because I can go on there and be like, um, write a song about, hey, today I'm gonna write a song about huge dicks, and then it'll go viral. And
Yeah.
it's like when it really comes down to it, I write serious music too, but when it comes down to it on the day to day, I'm not fully depressed all the time, so I'm just making goofy stuff, and it really is who I am. So it's nice that people resonate with it. When
Hmm.
it's like a band like Jet Jag, I fucking love the stuff that we did, and
Hmm.
um, I think I have a lot of respect for that music because it's just straight up real rock music.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it's in a box, I can't really just spit into a rap or something or add electronic music into that without it offending people who like our music, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so it's freeing. It's freeing to be able to just do solo stuff and TikTok stuff. And I have my
Hmm.
drummer, the drummer of Jet Jag. I hit him up all the time for projects in the studio and stuff like that. So
Oh, that's cool when you. I mean, in the end, it's also what I have here. I'm more on stage because I'm doing backline or like just promoting the show and everything, but and
mm-hmm.
less as a musician. But
Mm-hmm.
here at home, I took this time off like this to improve my technique or like trying
Yeah.
something new. Like I still have to learn how to programming a little bit of drums, and
Okay.
like
I
I
can show
just
you.
I just broke last week this the Akai, one of these
Perfect.
keyboard with pads, and
Mm-hmm.
the MPK Mini. And next
Mm-hmm.
week I will be out for a project and not far away from where I live. And I just packed everything. So when I have free time, I just jumping in and try. And
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is
it's
cool.
it's you just need to get rid of the disconnect between your fingers, right? And
Yeah,
your brain. And once you can just do it from what's in your brain to your fingers, you just put it in there and then you make sure it's on grid so it's on time, and then
yeah,
that's it.
that's
That's
it.
basically it.
Damn, I will keep you updated because it's something that I definitely want to learn to do, because I want, the idea for me making music is a way to express myself, is a release things for my stress, my thoughts. Always
Mm-hmm.
been like this. I have to be honest, there's been a time where I really battle with myself because I thought, why I'm doing this, I'm competing with somebody. I'm not a competitive person.
Uh-huh.
But then growing up, maybe getting older and wiser, I just realized that no way, it's something that it's good for me, uh, and I have to do. And then now we have the technology to do this. As I said, I won't do that here at home. I would be
You got to do it,
outside,
man. You,
and
you
you do
gotta
it. It's like
you gotta let it out. If that's what you want to do is make some music and just do it for fun, then you can't let yourself hold back. You got to do it. Otherwise, 10 years go by and then you're like, I had
yeah,
all this
right.
music inside me and I couldn't do it. Man, I've worked like so hard to be able to just do music full
Hmm.
time,
Yeah,
because of that literal statement. Like, I don't want in 10 years to say, man, I wish I tried harder
yeah.
when I was younger.
Yeah, this is something that I realized last year because I really changed from like working for somebody. Always, it's in the last 9 years, I just work with music, no compromise, just with
Oh yeah.
music. And last year, I decided I go freelance.
Mhm.
So it means that, yeah, you need to look for project, you need to look at this and
Yeah.
that. And honestly, I felt less pressure and less stress while I'm working because I know that I'm doing something that I want to do, and I
Right.
really brings out me. It's not nothing about the ego. It's really and
Yeah.
knowing that you can do that good, you do it with pleasure, and people
Yeah.
feel it. This is one of the
Yeah, and it's a
amazing
different type of
sensation.
pressure, right? Like
Yeah,
if you're when you first start out, it's let's say there's two paths. You work a 9 to 5,
yeah.
and you have a boss that you have to deal with all the time, right? That's one sort of pressure. But eventually you work your way up in the company and then you can retire in like 40 years or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or the other pressure is you do your own thing and then you have to deal with, how do I find clients? How do I feed myself? How do I
Yeah. Right.
make money, right? And then, but eventually you get there, hopefully sooner than later, and then you're
Yeah.
in the same spot. You can relax and you can work on the thing that you actually enjoy.
Yeah, it's always a process. And so if you, for all the artists, young artists or music producers or organizers, just it's a process. Just don't give up. Keep
Yeah,
doing
don't.
it. Go hard and
You can
talk to
do it.
first
You just got
things
to hone
first.
it in.
Yeah,
You just
but
got to hone
one
it in.
thing's important to say. We were talking about social media where we say people can do everything on their own, okay? But don't forget to share your ideas. Don't
Yeah.
be scared to talk to people, to communicate, because you can just learn from other things. It's not that somebody's gonna hear what you're saying and stealing your position. I mean, it can happen, but it's not the rules. I think it's I noticed I traveled in there, and as I said, I work in classical music as I work in metal, and I always learn something that motivates me or give me this kind of more professionality in my job. But it's this communication, and sometimes I got the feeling that I would talk about younger generation, but it's not only the case.
Uh-huh.
They keep everything for themselves,
Right.
and we are artists and art should be like a community, so
Yeah.
don't be
Yeah,
scared to open.
don't die with that music inside of you,
Yeah.
right? Like even if you have to struggle to get there, it'll be a lot harder if you play it safe and you say in 20 years, oh, I'm going to do music once I'm established and I have a house and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, my bank account has probably overdrafted more times,
Mm-hmm.
meaning gone under the negative more times than a normal human being should to get where I'm at now. But hell yeah, it was worth it.
Yeah.
You gotta just do it, and you gotta write the music. You have to finish it, and you have to put it out. Because
Amazing.
because
Yeah.
I have plenty of friends that they talk about wanting to do music, and they watch a lot of YouTube videos about it, and they learn everything about it. But you gotta do it. You gotta write it and put it out. The worst that could happen is somebody's gonna say, "Oh, that sucks." All right, fuck you. Right?
Yeah,
It's
right.
not for you. It's for
Yeah.
me, and for the people like me and the audience that likes it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I have one last question before we
Yeah.
close the episode, and this is something dear to me because it's still something important. I mean, you are also straight edge, and how
Yes.
did you get into that? I like to call it more like a life philosophy than really
Mm.
like a credo, or like something that you have to find
Yeah.
blindly. But
Yeah. How did I get into it? Well, I mean, I smoked like a couple cigarettes and drank like a couple beers when I was 14, 15. But I found a group of friends who were also straight edge, and we all like skateboarding and
Mhm.
that sort of stuff. And there was two skateboarding crews: the skateboarders who drank and smoked, and then the skateboarders who didn't and played music.
Yeah.
So I fell into that one, and I just sort of, I had a lot of respect for. Once I learned about the hardcore scene and the music scene, I had a lot of respect for straight edge and the culture behind it.
Mhm.
And I've had like plenty of friends who have been hurt by drugs and lost tons of people, and I wrote some songs about it, and I've had kids like or fans on the road like tell me how much that song meant to them, and that
Oh,
really
nice.
solidified me
Yeah.
into the straight edge. Now that I'm older, it's almost kind of just like brushing my teeth. It's just like how I live, and I
Yeah.
don't
Same
I don't
here.
wear it
Yeah.
on my sleeve or anything. I have a straight edge tattoo right here, but it's not like I'm very outward about it. When somebody gets in my face, like some douchebag at a bar who's like, "What are you, a pussy? You have a drink?" And I'm like, "No, sucking my
No.
cock."
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, it's more for you. You can have it all. And I don't really get burnt out about it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a thing that I stick to, and it keeps me level headed because I think if I did drink and I did do drugs, I would probably do coke, and I would want to work too much and work out too much, and I would probably destroy my body. So for
Yeah,
me,
right.
it definitely makes sense to be straight edge, along with the fact that I love hardcore music and that
Yeah.
whole scene.
Yeah, even for me, it's if somebody asks me, I say just no, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't, or I don't simply I don't like that kind of things.
Yeah,
But then if they ask me why, then I'm kind of proud to say no, I choose a straight edge. There's something funny because I always said to my friends, I will never like tattoo an X on my hand, but in the end,
yeah,
I did like a small a
hell
lion
yeah,
hair with an X. So it's like okay, that happened, like.
yeah,
But yeah, no, it's something that I also recognize that with the years just become part of you, your routine and the way you see the world. And
hmm
honestly, till now, it just broke me just very, very good things. And I also have people coming to me, um, maybe feeling safe to tell me things or talk about things because
yeah,
knowing
definitely.
about your choice and the fact that you stay strong, denying some kind of attitude.
hmm
So that's even cool in between the relation between people. Pete, I thank you very much for your time. I know
Of
that you are
course.
now in your RV and you have a road to take now.
Yeah,
And I thank you for your time. I thank you for your music. Your words are definitely inspiring for everybody interesting for to your band and your project. They will find all the information in the description of the episode. And
perfect.
guys, if you like Music to Live for with Shanti, don't forget to subscribe on Instagram, on Spotify, Deezer, and of course on YouTube. Guys, thank you very much. Pete, thank you very much. And I wish
Of
you a
course.
lovely
Thanks,
afternoon,
man.
man.
All right, take care.
Music to live for with Shanti.